Once a wise spiritual master was at prayer, and the disciples came up to him and said, "Master, teach us to pray." And this is how the master taught them. Two men were walking through a field one day when they spotted an angry bull. Instantly, they made for the nearest fence with the bull in hot pursuit. Despite their best efforts, it soon became evident to them that they were not going to make it. So one man shouted to the other, "We've had it! Nothing can save us now! Say a prayer, quick!" The other man shouted back, "I've never prayed in my life, and I certainly don't have a prayer for this occasion." "Doesn't matter," his friend yelled back. "The bull is catching up with us. Any prayer will do." "Well, okay," the first man replied. "I'll say the one that I remember that my mother used to say before every meal. For what we are about to receive, make us truly grateful." This story puts me in touch with my mixed feelings each first Sunday of Advent. Even before the turkey's cold and the cranberry sauce is warm, our culture has thrust its own version of Christmas upon us. The shop till you drop version. The work yourself up into a frenzy and then sedate yourself from your problems and emptiness and worry with high-end cars and electronics and expensive jewelry. That version of Christmas. And even much of the church finds itself rushing past the long days and years and centuries of waiting and the harsh words of prophets and the half-crazed John the Baptist in the wilderness and the morning sickness that Mary endured, not to mention the oppression of her people by a dominating empire. Rushing past all those things to get to the tiny baby and to the manger, where he laid his sweet head so that we can croon the sweet lullaby, "Sleep in heavenly peace. Sleep in heavenly peace." But if we thought that we were going to sedate ourselves this season with the twin pills of commercialism and materialism, and fill our emptiness and cover over our anxiety with religious sentimentality and giddy spiritual cliches about peace on earth and goodwill to all, then we probably should not have come to church this Sunday. And in fact, we probably should stop coming to church at all on the first Sunday of Advent. Because every year, the assigned scripture readings for this day that begin the sprint to the manger have nothing to do with angelic cherubs or hushed lullabies sung by adoring mothers. Instead, they are chock full of the scary, downright frightening themes of days of darkness and starless night skies, uncertain watching and waiting, and the specter of looming accountability and judgment. Oh, and by the way, Merry Christmas. But before we all get up and just leave, ready to chuck all the bah humbug sentiment of those crotchety shapers of the lectionary, who are obviously having a really bad day when they picked out these passages, maybe we might just pause for a moment and reconsider. Maybe the ancient wisdom of the church to precede the Christmas season with the Advent season was actually right on the money after all. Maybe those stuffy academics and pastors and church officials who decided that we should hold off on the manger scene knew exactly what they were doing. Because after all, human babies take 9 long months to gestate after they have been perhaps hoped for years. And birthing always contains uncertainty. and often some times of discomfort and even pain, as I see many of the women in the congregation nod. Making room for new life in our lives is also a process that takes time, is full of uncertainty, and usually includes discomfort and even pain. And with birthing, the real inconvenient truth is that we never fully know what it is that is actually being born until it actually arrives. And that, it seems to me, is part of the problem in our celebrations of Christmas. We think we know what we're getting, don't we? We think we know what we're getting. And so we continue to see Jesus just as we always have. But what if the birth is different this year? What if the spiritual birthing process takes us into new territory this time? Will we allow that to happen? Can we allow a new perspective on our faith to be born this time? As the choir sang in the lovely anthem this morning, will we know Jesus when he comes? Or will we miss him again this year because we expect him to be the same Jesus, born to us last year and the year before that and the year before that? And isn't that just as true of each of our lives as well? Don't we all have to live through periods of our lives in which we are very unsure how the birthing process is going to turn out? Don't we all have our predetermined ideas of what a good outcome would be? And doesn't that sometimes cause us to totally miss the gift that we've actually been given? Isn't the metaphorical baby that we are birthing sometimes delivered with different abilities than we were expecting? Do we sometimes expect a birth that turns out to feel more like a death? And then we're surprised to find that actually there is a gift and a blessing in the dying process. A process that leads to new life. A life that we had never imagined possible. Will we come to find that our depression holds within it a teacher, an inner teacher, that wants us to discover some new awareness, some new path that will lead us to renewed life? Will we come to find that our loss holds within it the gift of an emptiness? Yes, the gift of an emptiness that we find is actually not just empty, but can open us to a new and different kind of fullness. Now, I'm not suggesting, at least I'm not planning, to celebrate the pain and loss of life. And I'm not suggesting that any of you do that either. Frankly, I'm suspicious of those folks who go through life accepting every single experience as if it were God's unique gift to them. For me personally, I'm not able to do that. And there are plenty of life experiences that I don't believe God ever wants any of us to have. But what I'm trying to suggest is that God is alive in every experience. And because of that, some healing grace can emerge, even on a dark and starless night. We lit the first candle of Advent for hope. And hope, it seems to me, has very little to do with sentimentality or with certainty. Like birthing, hope is rarely a pretty process with guaranteed and neat outcomes. Instead, hope sits on the razor-thin edge of possibility, never ignorant of reality, but insistent that reality includes the unexpected potential for birthing. A birthing which we can never fully control. I believe that understanding of hope is what allows the church to begin the Christmas season with the still uncertainty of Advent. I believe that understanding of hope is what enables the disciples of the Master to pray without despair. For what we are about to receive, O God, make us truly grateful. Amen.